Right, welcome back everybody. Let's get into the regulars of the day. We'll start off with our stories. Firstly, that will be heading up the news diaries around the country. So the trial of 4 suspects allegedly involved in last year's kidnapping of 6-year-old Amy Lee Diyaga from outside her school in Thunderbale Park. Remember that story? It's expected to begin in the Palm Ridge Regional Court today.
The Commission of Inquiry into allegations of state capture will hear Eskom-related testimony as the Power Utilities former company secretary Susan Daniels is expected to testify this morning.
According to the Health Ministry, let's get you the latest numbers now. These were reported last night. Cases in South Africa, COVID-19 cases in South Africa, the total amount, 650,749. The total number of deaths stand at 15,499. So a total of 579,289 people have since recovered, and this brings the active number of cases in South Africa to 55,961.
And just another recap on those numbers, all important numbers, should you require any assistance. The 24-hour hotline is 0800 029 999, and the WhatsApp service also available on 0600 123 456.
Right, trending topics. So COVID-19 SA, it's still a talking point in South Africa. I suppose it will be until who knows when, but it seems to be trending of late in terms of the fact that obviously we're waiting for the president to announce whether or not we are moving, when we're moving to level 1 of the lockdown, and that's what's greatly speculated. You'll remember last week there was a briefing between the president and SANEF. In that particular briefing he said he will be giving an address this week sometime. So we wait on the president to see the further directions. Many people are calling for South Africa to be opened up, the restrictions to be eased even further, and just saying that we need to save the economy now. We're seeing the numbers going down. We need to now get back to business as much as we possibly can. So that's what we're talking about. The numbers are coming in lower every single day. But, you know, many are very, very worried, however, that if we let our guard down, the numbers will pick up again. So we need to keep wearing those masks, sanitizing, social distancing, all of those things need to remain. But COVID-19 is still a big conversation in the country.
Right, let's move on to hashtag Where is Bheki Cele? And this one was started by Midnight Twitter. You know, Midnight Twitter are a very busy bunch of people.
I saw that,
so,
yes.
They decided, but not out of thin air, you know, looking at what's going on and some people in distress reaching out and, you know, trying to find assistance. Someone was saying that they're being harassed, the house is on the verge of being burnt out, and they're calling the police and nobody is coming. And people asking, you know, where is Bheki Cele? And there's just so much crime going on in the country, and I think people are really starting to feel it because it's everywhere. I don't know, Leanne, but personally I can't remember a time where one felt more unsafe than right now. It doesn't matter where you are. You go to a filling station, you get hijacked. You sit at a restaurant, your phone gets snatched out you walk down the road, you know, your bag, your phone, anything gets snatched. So it's just like you don't have a safe haven anywhere.
I tell you what, the crime rates have gone through the ceiling. I mean, people are sharing stories, videos, and you know what really upsets me is that during the lockdown, if people were found out of their houses at a certain time, if people were found breaking a lockdown, they were hauled across the coals. There was police everywhere to be seen, and they were inflicting sort of like the justice that was there, and we are keeping the law. And now when they have to protect us, you know, it's almost like COVID-19 was the enemy at that time, and they were trying to keep us away from COVID-19. And now that COVID-19 seems to be sort of like, okay, well, now you're on your own, so now you've got to protect yourselves again. I mean, I went to the shops yesterday, and it was so funny because I actually felt like I was taking my life into my own hands by walking into a shopping center to go and buy something I desperately needed, because that shopping center had had an armed robbery that morning, and there was a shootout, and 4 guys had run off, 2 had hijacked a car, there was another, they closed the roads, there were warnings at the school, please don't use this road, don't you? I mean, what are we doing to ourselves?
But the thing is, even during lockdown, there were cash in transit heists taking place, and these were the early days. you know. So, and it made you wonder, given that we should have a greater presence of not just the police, but also the army out and about. Why was this happening? But then it just seemed to escalate to a point where we find ourselves now where everybody seems somewhat despondent about the situation. But I think, you know, the hashtag Begitele is people saying, if Begitele could bring the same energy and vigor that he brings to the fight against alcohol, then maybe we'd get somewhere.
Bring that same vigor against crime. It's a big thing, really it is. I mean, it's a thing I feel very, very passionately about, and I think many people do. We have children, we're in this country, and yet, when you feel like you put your foot out of your house or even into your house, you feel vulnerable. You're almost waiting for your turn. And that is what's so sad right now. But I think that this trend is also linked to human trafficking awareness.
Yes.
Because people are talking to the fact that we are not taking human trafficking seriously enough. And this is a real, real problem that we need to highlight. Human trafficking is a big problem. And again, there's a big shout out to the police minister and to all of the people in charge of the system to say, guys, you've got to do more when it comes to human trafficking. Our women and children in particular are vulnerable, very, very vulnerable.
And the problem here is, of course, it would seem as though until it becomes a personal issue, it isn't really a thing. And that is a problem because these things are happening. I remember Special Assignment doing, you know, a beautiful expose, and it took them across the country. It's something that has stayed with me. If you can, go and watch it on Special Assignment on the catch-ups, because they followed this girl. She was in her early teens, and she had been taken captive, and her sister as well, and they were in these drug dens, and they showed how young girls were being trafficked around South Africa. So the traffickers were literally trading these girls, for lack of a better phrase. So they would say, so you have these girls in Joburg, the Joburg clientele is tired of these girls, they would then swap them out, move them around almost to Cape Town, Port Elizabeth, whatever. It is horrific.
It is horrific.
It is
really
horrific.
And when you think of human trafficking, just on a closing note, we don't necessarily only refer, and a lot of people think when we talk human trafficking, we're talking across regional or international borders. This is provincial trafficking that is happening right under our noses, and we don't even notice that it's happening. And we have to be vigilant. We have to be vigilant of these things. But there's so much going on, and I feel that we need to take a special show and put it towards crime, put it towards these kinds of issues, because it's getting bad.
Hence the awareness is needed, because remember, you can be trafficked from one street to another street.
Indeed.
It's not about the levels of proximity. Because and you see this, for example, in areas where there's a proliferation of drug abuse, where people are trafficked from one place to another within the same area, literally.
It's crazy. It really, really is. All right. Well, as you can see, lots to talk about, and we'll continue on that issue. I mean, these are the kind of things that really do stimulate the kind of conversations we have here and the guests we bring in, and hopefully cover it more extensively. But as we've been saying since the beginning of the program,